Hello and welcome back to The Pursuit of a 10, episode 3. Now in this series, I am trying to catch a 10-inch bluegill, but more importantly, I am just trying to become a big bluegill expert. Now in the first two videos, I went to a couple of shallow grassy lakes, and as you can tell, there's a lot of shallow grass here too, but the difference between this lake and those lakes is that this one is deeper and it's larger. So I think that's gonna add a layer of complexity, but I'm, hopeful that it'll add some big bluegill in the mix as well. Not really sure what to expect. I've never actually bluegill fished here before. I've only bass fished here, but I have seen big bluegills in the shallows when I bass fish, so that's why I decided to come here. Regardless, I could sit here in my kayak and ramble all day, but what I'd rather do is get started. So enough yipping and yapping, let's start casting and blasting. Let's go. So rather than starting out in deep water, I decided to come back here in this little canal type area. It's a lot of shallow grass, and I figure I'll just start here, see what's going on. I've already seen a ton of fish swimming around, lots of small bluegills, some small sunfish, a couple little baby bass, literally like basically yearlings. So my guess is this is not where it's gonna happen, but let's just get started. I always like fishing little areas like this. I just think it's fun. There's a fish. First cast. I believe that's a sunfish. That is a little pumpkin seed. Number 1 for the day. First cast, first fish. He's pulling it. He's too small. He doesn't have his mouth all the way around it. There we go. Got one. Another little pumpkin seed here. Not a very big fish, but we've got 2 fish so far. There we go. That is, I think this is another pumpkin seed bluegill hybrid. Pretty little fish. Not what we're looking for, but we're on the board, man. I'll take that. My friend Seth and his son Lawson are actually meeting me out here, so I'm gonna go meet up with them right now, and then we're gonna go find a spot where there's bigger fish. I'm still kind of waking up too, to tell you the truth. I just downed a coffee, as well as a slice of pizza, as well as a protein bar, as well as a cookie. So that's what we're working with so far this morning. Look at this setup. What's up? You Lawson? Nice to meet you. Man, that's kind of a nice little seat you got there. So we are headed out to like a grassy point here. So I just fished all that canal back there. And obviously, like I said, lots of small fish. I'm thinking that this area could actually be pretty good. I didn't have to come far. It deepens out quite a bit here, and I could see how maybe some bigger post-spawn bluegill might be here. In fact, I think that's what's right below me, potentially. They could be dinks for all we know, but the only way to find out is to keep moving and grooving, see what we can find. Oh, one was pulling on it. Something tells me that was a dink. Yeah, we're getting short strikes out here. There might be a bunch of little dinks out here. I might have to keep looking. Nice job. Will you teach me? Because I don't know what I'm doing. What'd you do? You cast it. Okay. Reeled it a little bit, and then you set the hook. What am I doing wrong? I swear I've tried those things. All right, we're gonna move and groove. As much as this location looks good, it's just full of dinks. My theory is that I need to find areas that look like they were good spawning areas and then follow that natural progression of where those bluegill spawned to where they're going next for the summer. I figure they're gonna get off on grass weed edges and whatnot during the summer, but I need to find those kind of silty, shallower areas that get a lot of sun and then look for old bluegill beds and then work my way out. And I'm thinking that that will be the best way to find some of those larger bluegill. I don't know, it's a theory. I'm still kind of new to this stuff. Got one. You caught a pumpkin seed? Well, guess what? I caught a bluegill. All right, Lawson and I are really just working these little small fish right now. Teamwork. Together, we will figure the big ones out. Hey, Lawson, how old are you? You're 4? Well, dang, you're old. Yeah, it just doesn't matter where I go. I'm just finding short strikers. There we go. That is why I keep getting short strikes. Fish like this. Is that a warmouth? I swear that's what that is. I'm gonna have to verify. It could potentially be a hybrid of some type, but I believe, based on that vertical barring right there, and there's a slight purple hue to it in the back region, but then you can see that mouth is much, much larger than a typical sunfish mouth. I'm about 95% sure that is a small warmouth. That's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. I tell you what, that's another species for the Mule multi-species challenge. See you, buddy. There's a fish. That one feels a little better. This might actually be a little bass. I don't know, hard telling. No, it's just a chunky little, that's another warmouth, I think. It might be a hybrid. It's definitely got a big mouth, you can see. And I can see the purple in those vertical bars. I think this is another warmouth. That's cool, I didn't know they were in here. We moved over to the opposite side of the lake, and historically I've seen some nice bluegill in this particular area, and I can't remember necessarily what time of year I fished it here, but I figured maybe they spawn in this area and they might pull off on some of these weed beds. All right, flipping the pads for bluegill. There he is. This is interesting. I've never flipped lily pads for bluegill like this before. You know, you just find a little gap and you toss it in there. That was a pretty small gill, but you never know, there might be a big one in there too. I'm gonna try that again. Watch me catch a 5-pound bass. Oh, there's a... All right, what's this one? Oh, there's a more traditional warmouth. That's a beauty. I gotta get a picture of that. That is a beautiful warmouth right there. Okay, this one looks like a normal warmouth. I don't know if it's the difference between male and female, it probably is, but that is a beauty right there. I gotta, yes sir. Okay, pretty happy with the fact that I'm catching all these warmouth. I didn't know they were here, and evidently there's a decent population of them. See you, buddy. What's this? It's got a little more weight to it. Oh, it's a little bass. Not very big, but puts up a nice fight. It was only a matter of time before I caught a dink. There we go. I don't know what to do to figure out what these big bluegill want to do. I've tried fishing shallow, I've tried fishing deep, I've tried fishing lily pads, I've tried fishing like a little bit different type of grass. This area has a lot more sand. We'll see if that makes a difference. There's a fish. What's this? It looks like a little better bluegill. Or no, it's a pumpkin seed. I'm trying to fish a lot of different areas while I'm out here, fish different patterns, and just really try to learn. There we go. What's this? There we go. That's better. A little bit bigger fish. I mean, it's a sunfish, it's not a bluegill. It's another pumpkin seed, but man, it's a pretty one. And it's a little bit larger size, so I gotta imagine if this fish is here, there might be some larger bluegill here as well. I gotta get a photo because this fish is just absolutely fantastic looking. You're going on Instagram. See you, buddy. Okay, I think it's time for an update. I'll tell you what, I'm having a blast out here. This little ultralight is doing the trick. I'm catching a lot of fish. I have not figured out how to catch big bluegill yet. Everywhere I go, I get a lot of short strikes, but I trust the process. Honestly, I'm starting to feel a little bit more optimistic. I think this bank right here has some big bluegill potential. I don't know why, but my gut is telling me that it does. So I'm gonna keep casting around and see what we can do. No matter what, it's awesome. I can't believe I caught so many warmouth. I didn't know there was such a good population of warmouth here, but I'm definitely thinking because of that, I'm going to want to come back because that is a cool species. They're very pretty. It's just a species that I don't catch very often, but I do like them. Anyways, man, the sun is shining. It's not too windy. It's pretty much perfect kayak fishing conditions, so I have zero to complain about. Let's go find a big bluegill. We're gonna do it. I trust the process. Let's go. What's your words of advice, Lawson? You're an expert. I feel like you should have some tips. Fish on? I like that. Lawson's words of advice are fish on. Honestly, solid words of advice. Whether you're 4 or 44, I think it applies. I've got a major tangle situation right now. This is just dandy. Braided fishing line, man. Can be a total pain in the butt. There's still fish on beds here, interestingly enough. They don't look terrible either. They're a little bit bigger. There he is. All right, that's a better one. Got him off a bed. That's a pumpkin seed, and that's a real nice one, actually. Okay, cool. Well, the big ones are still around, and they're still on beds, apparently. That's a nice fish. God, that's a beauty. When I say nice fish, you know, I think this is probably about a 6.5 incher. It's definitely our biggest sunfish of the day, and it's really gorgeous. But obviously, it's not quite as long as what we're looking for, but there's a couple more down there, so we'll see if we can catch another. Got him. I'm literally right on top of this fish. Oh my gosh, he's got fight. He was protecting a bed. Another beautiful pumpkin seed. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. They're such tall fish. Like, it's a legit circle. See, buddy. The good news is that this place is showing potential for some larger fish. The bad news is this is the first we've seen them. So there's clearly some big fish in here, but you have to go through a lot of tiny fish to find these nicer ones. So I don't really know what the strategy is besides maybe covering water. There's just a cluster of nice fish on a bed right here. Like, this is such a small little bedding area, but they're all decent fish. So clearly what it shows me, and this is a good learning, is that these larger fish tend to hang together. There's not a lot of really, really small ones here, but there are a lot of high quality fish. Like, I would take these all day. These are 6 to 7 inch fish. That's nice. I mean, especially for a pumpkin seed, because they tend to be, their body shape is a little bit more stout. All right, there's actually my best bluegill of the day. He randomly bit by this dock. We just kind of eased around the corner here. This is definitely my most respectable fish. We'll get a measurement on him just to kind of see. It looks like it's probably just shy of 7 inches. Oh, I guess my measuring board doesn't even go anything lower than 8, but it's not gonna be an 8-incher. Yeah, probably about a 7 1/4 is what I would have to guess. Pretty little bluegill. We're getting to the point where we're starting to find a little bit more respectable fish. Okay, that's how we're gonna do it. That's how we're gonna do it, fine. Point is, we're starting to find some more respectable fish. Are they big? No, but they're getting to be where they're a little bit more the size I'm looking for. Okay, quick update. Seth and his son Lawson just left. Thanks guys for fishing with me. It was an absolute blast. Lawson, you are a great fisherman. But I tell you what, this back half of this day, I'm really gonna focus on covering water. What I've realized so far is that there are bluegill everywhere you go, but the big bluegill are grouped up together and they're in small pockets together. So I think the biggest key for me is to just cover water, look for those fish, slow down when I find those fish, and try to pluck them off one by one. Hard telling, I don't know. Honestly, I'm learning new things out here and I'm having a blast, but it's been kind of a weird day so far. Anyways, the more I sit here and ramble, the less time I have to fish, so let's get back to it. These fish are all just gonna short strike it. These fish are so small. Look at all of them, that's incredible. There we go, a little bit bigger one. Not giant, but a nice fish. I had to get it through about 20 dinks to get to this one, but that's not even that big. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of dinky ones down there. There's a couple a little bit bigger than this, but this is probably like 6.5 inches. Nothing too big. As much as I want to sit here and fish these beds, that's probably a waste of my time. I need to keep moving and look for ones that have bigger fish on them. Oh, okay, there's some beds. Ooh, there's some good ones in here. Yep, they might have been pumpkin seeds, but I'll take any sunfish. There we go. That's a bluegill. That's one of my best bluegill today for sure. Decent fish. That's another probably 7 1/4. About like that last one. Okay, I'm gonna switch to a green pumpkin real quick because I just want a little bit more natural look. It seems like there's a lot of short strikes on that pasture fire. Because this green pumpkin will be a little bit more natural, I'm hoping that they take it down better. I don't know. There he is. He's fighting hard. That's a beauty. That is a beauty. Pumpkin seed. Just an absolutely gorgeous fish. Healthy, you know, not a bad fish by any means, but not necessarily a big fish either. Oh my gosh, the bass ate this, and then my drag. Oh my God, I just broke my rod. Well, that sucks. My most expensive ultralight is broken. I think the braid might have wrapped around the tip. I knew that was gonna happen someday to one of my rods. I'm sad it happened to this one because this is probably my favorite ultralight, but at least it's a Dobbins and they're probably gonna take care of me. And fortunately, it looks like I might be able to land this fish. I'm kind of sad right now. Okay, let me explain what the heck is going on. First, let me land this fish. Nice bass on the ultralight. I'm not mad at Dobbins by any means. I think the braid wrapped around the tip, you know, that's been kind of one of those things where I've never had it happen before, but I've always been scared it will, and it finally did. You know, I'm obviously really upset right now, but there's nothing I can do at this point, so try not to get too mad. Try to just send an email to Dobbins, show them a picture, and hopefully they'll take care of me. I know they've got some kind of warranty policy, so I'm not sure what to think about that, but hopefully they'll take care of me. I mean, chunky little bass nonetheless. I was always nervous about that because they make their rod tips so dang tiny. Smallest little rod tip. I'm gonna go ahead and retire this rod. I'll let you guys know what happens. Hopefully I have it taken care of by the time this video posts. It literally snapped it clean at the second guide. I'm sad about that, I am honestly sad about that. I know that I'm holding things together. I'm actually proud of myself right now for not freaking out, but I am sad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch to the 13 Fishing Defy. This has 2-pound monofilament on it, and I will say that is another reason why monofilament is kind of more of my speed than braid. I love the sensitivity of braid, I love the way it feels, but it can be a pain because sometimes that braided line will wrap right around your rod tip. You set the hook and you don't notice that, your rod is gonna snap. It's just how it goes. Like I said, I think we're gonna be okay. It's all good. I am sad, but what can I do? There's nothing I can do at this point. I do want to cry a little. I also am hungry.
Pretty awesome.
Thank you. Oh yeah, I saw this guy.
Never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, I love this thing. Oh yeah, nice pumpkin seed. It's probably my best fish of the day. I just got off the phone with my pops. I was talking to him for about an hour, so I wasn't filming, but I made my way to a different location. We just caught our nicest fish of the day. Probably a he's just shy of 8, probably 7 3/4. So making progress. It's not a bluegill, but it's a sunfish. And there was a couple more just like him up here. So who knows, maybe we'll find an 8-incher. Oh my gosh, there we go. Another one. All right, let's see. That's probably another just shy of 8. He might be 8. No, that one's probably 7.5. I think he's a little taller and he's got a lot darker complexion. Beautiful fish. Oh, bass, bass. Are you kidding me? A bass swam in and smoked it. Holy smokes, he's in my drive. Oh, he broke me off. He got in my drive. Dadgummit. I couldn't do a whole lot about that. He brought me down in my propeller. Had a good day so far, but there's a couple of little headaches along the way, that's for sure. I've got a chartreuse one rigged up already, 1/64th ounce mule jig with a chartreuse donkey tail junior. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a try. Doesn't seem like color's making a huge difference, so I don't think it'll be a big deal. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like I'm thinking about my Dobbins right now and I'm like totally sad. There we go. What's this? Is that a perch? It is a perch, okay. Another species. First perch of the day for me. Cool, those beds are a little bit smaller and there's a bunch more of them. It seems like the big bluegill beds, the ones that like are a little bit larger size, and then they're also like a tighter grouping. Seems like that's where the big ones are. Oh snap, oh snap, oh snap. Speaking of which, I think we just found a group right in front of me. There's like a smaller consolidated pack of beds and I think they're a little bit better fish and I think they're actually still on them. Oh, there we go. I'm drifting on top of them, so I'm backing up. It's a pumpkin seed. A lot of the fish that are still spawning seem to be pumpkin seeds, but that's a nice one. That one's about to pop. I don't think this one's dropped its eggs yet. And you can see it's just super fat fish. I think it's pretty. I'm gonna put it back. There we go. There we go. That looks like that's a bluegill. One of my better bluegill for the day. It's pretty long. Again, probably in that 7-inch range. There's a decent amount of 7-inch class fish, but I can't seem to find anything 8+. You know, there's a lot of fish about like that, which are good, solid fish. Like, don't get me wrong, I like those fish. I'll take those any day of the week, but it's weird that I can't quite find those bigger ones. There we go. Had to get it down there, a little deeper water. No, I want to measure you. Stop it. Don't do it. I want to measure you. Did I finally get an 8-incher? I know it's not the pursuit of an 8, but today I just want to catch an 8-incher because things have just not been too hot. It's another like 7.5, 7 3/4. That seems to be the magic number today. 7+ inches are good fish, but 8 to 10 is kind of like more trophy class in my opinion. While I haven't got that 8+ yet, I think I have figured a few things out with regards to finding the slightly more quality fish. Here's another one. Not too big, but not small either. Kind of a mid-range fish right here. It's got some good tug to it. It's a little bluegill. But what I've found is that these steeper banks that don't have too much vegetation on the bank, they've got like a deeper drop off with grass on it, but they've got silt and sand up shallow. But like I said, steeper banks, you can see that this is a pretty high sloping bank, and it seems like that makes a difference. Now it's shallow here, but it's a high sloping bank, and I don't know what it is, but it seems like a lot of the bigger fish I've found have been in a situation just like this. So I'm just trying to learn slowly but surely, and it seems like it is paying off. Okay, I tell you what, that's gonna be a wrap for episode 3 of The Pursuit of a 10. I had a blast today. Obviously, I broke a rod, so I'm pretty sad about that, but I had a good time nonetheless. The big thing is, even though today was pretty challenging and I never really found any trophies by any means, I definitely feel like I learned a few things about bluegill, and I also really developed a pattern for some of those larger bluegill. They seem to all be on high sloping banks with a sandy bottom, and a lot of them were on beds or near beds, but all of the banks that I caught the bigger fish on were very, very similar. So I certainly feel good about the fact that I started to figure out a little bit of a pattern. Unfortunately, I ran out of time. As much as I definitely think that this lake is heavily overpopulated with dinks, it does seem to have some big fish potential. So I'm nothing but confident if I was to come back here again, there would be a chance. I think there's some 10-inchers in here. I think they're probably pretty hard to find, but I think they exist. Stay tuned for more episodes of The Pursuit of a 10. Hopefully one of these days we'll get one. No matter what, I'm having a blast trying. We'll catch you next time.